Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us today on this specialized webinar on maximizing digital transformation, a CIO's guide to harnessing the power of integration with SAP. As we know, digital transformation has become a key priority for many organizations, and SAP has been instrumental in enabling companies to transform their business through technology. As a Chief Information Officer, CIO, your role is crucial in guiding your organization through this change and ensuring that you have the right technology solutions in place to drive success. In this webinar, we will explore how you can harness the power of integration with SAP and accelerate your project timelines whilst reducing risk. We will discuss the benefits of integration, the challenges that organizations face, and the best practices for a successful implementation. My name is Glyn Williams, and I'm a certified SAP S/4HANA consultant and architect, author of SAP books, and managing director of Emphasys. We help integrate SAP and other systems for businesses, providing innovative, scalable solutions globally. I'm excited to be joined by our panel of experts, led by Prasanna Vittal, who's head of SAP Integration with Emphasys. Prasanna is a certified SAP PRPO and CPI consultant with expertise in on-premise and on-cloud integration technologies, and he has helped leading clients such as Coca-Cola, Merck, Unilever, Shiseido, Schneider Electric, and others. So without further ado, let's dive in and explore how you can achieve a successful digital transformation with SAP integration. We'll be going through 5 stages in the webinar, and our objective is to provide you value. So with each one of these stages that we go through, we're providing you an accelerator to improve your project timeline. Let's start with gathering information. When it comes down to gathering information, one can leverage the capabilities of the SAP Integration Suite that are pre-built and inherent inside the business technology platform. Prasanna, would you like to share a little bit about the SAP Integration Suite?
Yes, sure, Glenn. Thank you. So SAP Integration Suite is the integration platform as a service provided by SAP. So it's one of the key services which is part of the SAP BTP. Gartner has recognized Integration Suite as the leader in the Magic Quadrant, in the IPASS Magic Quadrant. So, it provides various capabilities to allow your company to integrate various applications and systems, be it cloud-based or on-premise. So one of the core capability here is the cloud integration, which was earlier known as CPI. So this is where you can build your integration flows by making use of the pre-built content. We can also deploy security artifacts here, monitor the integration flows, deploy certificates, etc. So this is the core capability, which is supported by open connectors. So this is where we can search for various non-SAP connectors. For example, if you want to connect to Workday or Salesforce or any of those connectors, that's the place to look for. So we go there and we look for it, and then we check all the operations available, establish connectivity, and then we can use it in the integration flow. Yeah, so this is the screenshot where you can see it will give us various objects that are available and various operations supported. And then once it meets our requirements, we can choose the operation, and then we can take it forward in the integration flow. So it also has various other capabilities such as API management. This is where the companies can expose their data as APIs, and we can also manage the entire API lifecycle here by starting with the monitoring of the APIs. We have a catalog of APIs here where which customers can browse, and then they can also use it as the developers from the customer's company also can make use of this with the help of the API Business Hub. Then we have integration assessment. So this is basically integration solution advisory methodology by SAP, where it gives us the best practices to design and architect your integration. We will see more of it in the next section. And then we have migration assessment. This is a recent addition. So this is where we can, when we want to migrate our integrations from SAP PO to CPI or to Integration Suite, before we actually do the migration, we can, this tool helps us assess import and assess all the existing integrations. And then it gives us the report, like which ones are ready to migrate, which ones need like a bit of adjustment, etc. And then based on that, we can take it from there. Another capability is trade partner management, where we can maintain various partners and their profiles, their messages, and it also helps accelerate the onboarding.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Prasanna. And as an accelerator in the gathering information phase, it is important to understand that there are tools and there are partners that can help you on the journey that you have. And one of the most important, or one of the most valuable ones that we found, is a tool called Udo, which is by Ariane in Switzerland. We're the official Asia Pacific resellers of the tool, but you are able to generate documentation on every single integration that you have on your SAP PIPO system with a single click. And that's not just having to document your interfaces within a development system. This actually reads your productive landscape, your productive integration flows, and documents them. So you've got the latest, most up-to-date mapping, the latest, most up-to-date certificates and rules, technology, in order for you to use that for your move to, for example, to Integration Suite or anywhere else. Prasanna, do you want to tell us a little bit about Udo?
Yes, yes. One of the most popular capability of this tool is generating documentation, right? Let's say your technical specifications, we can connect to the PI system, and then just with a single click of a button, we can generate. And there is a template that's given by Udo. We can actually, before generating, we can go and update the company logo, and we can even choose not to have some sections and add new sections, etc. I think all we have to do is just add a paragraph, and that's it. Your integration spec and the flow diagram is generated automatically. Some of the other features was the mapping comparison. This is definitely, as integration developers, you'll know how difficult it is when you have various mappings and various versions of the mappings, and if you're not sure which one is the accurate one and what are the differences between them, so that it helps us do the cleanup as well and remove the orphan objects. We can also find expired certificates that are about to expire, and we can also export the entire interfaces as a catalog, and we can always maintain the up-to-date interface list. Yeah, so as Glenn mentioned, we are the official APAC reseller, and we have implemented Udo in some of our customers. And this is definitely, being from the integration development background, I definitely love this product.
Excellent. It's not an exaggeration to say that this accelerator can save your business hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's very, very minimal cost. The next thing that we need to do after we've gathered the information of our existing landscape, and we wish to move to either BTP Integration Suite or to some other tool, is to understand what our future state integration is going to look like. And in order to do that, we need to ensure that we architect our integration to be future-proof. Now, how does one do that? Well, we've got some solution methodologies, and we leverage the integration solution advisory methodology provided by SAP. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to build a referential playbook for your enterprise. And this is the accelerator for your business now, is find the integration solution advisory methodology and complete it. Because once you've got this playbook for your enterprise, you can instantly be given a integration by a vendor or a business user. And you need to understand, should you be creating an API? Should you be leveraging EDI or an IDOC? What's the mechanism for you to connect? Should you be using FTP, or what should the solution be? And so by having a a playbook to refer to. It ensures that all your integration patterns are consistent. It ensures that your help desk and your team, which is going to support the integrations after they are live, that they have the same methodology and the same processes to resolve issues in the same way. It also allows you to leverage existing artifacts and existing patterns that you've got and to build upon them. It also allows you to have a consistent approach so that if you, for example, wish to create an API marketplace for internal consumption or external consumption, that you are able to do that. So the integration solution advisory methodology can help you with your integration strategy for the future. Prasanna, is there anything that you wish to add about this tool?
Yeah, I think you covered most of it. So, one of the cases I've encountered is in large companies is, like, say you get a change request and then there is an integration between system X and system Y, and if you have this ISAM template, we can use it as a blueprint guideline, and to say, okay, this is an on-premise system, this is also an on-premise system. So let's say we use PO, for example, or if it's a non-SAP cloud to non-SAP cloud, which tool to use. So it helps us map the various integration styles, domains with the technology, and then that actually helps us follow the best practices.
Just in line with that, let's think of a use case. Having a data transfer or a integration pattern, which is reliant upon data, where your volume is very large, you're going to need a different integration pattern than if you are talking about a sales order flow, or even just the movement of a change in a master data record, which is an individual. So, for example, for some customers, we've actually changed the technology that is being used in order to enable large volumes of data to be transferred. Somebody could go to an integration and say, well, we've always done this via a IDOC, and therefore an IDOC is what we need to use going forward. But actually, there are opportunities if one had to move, for example, to SOAP or to REST or something else. So it's worthwhile checking out what the options are and redesigning what your architecture blueprint is going to look like. In line with this, a number of people ask us how to integrate and how to architect across a hybrid landscape. We see that a lot of companies are moving from PRPO. Yes, it's end of life, end of extended maintenance at 2030. And so there is a need to move, but one doesn't need to move instantly, and it doesn't need to be a big bang. And so what we see a lot of companies do is that they slowly progress over time, and they have their PO in place, and they have their on-prem and their cloud systems, and then they have their integration between their on-premise solution of SAP and their third-party applications. But they're also bringing in their integration suite as a capability. And by doing that, there's a number of patterns that one can create. This is a typical hybrid integration landscape that you could use and you could reference. And you can see if you've got a simple integration flow between something which is on-prem and something that is in the cloud, that yes, a simple cloud connector would be able to have a pass-through. But maybe you need to leverage the integration suite and the list of open connectors, which Prasanna spoke about earlier on, or the list of APIs that are available. And so you can leverage that capability. So you might wish to go from your on-prem application through Cloud Connector, through your integration suite to your target. Again, you might wish to leverage your PO and use the integration that you've got in PO for as long as you want, sweat the asset, and then move to integration suite over time. So it's an example. A little bit about the integration suite is that with the 200 plus connectors, including country-specific content, it is definitely an accelerator for you. And the Cloud Connector securely gives you access between on-prem and the integration suite, indeed TP. Prasanna, is there anything that you wish to add here?
Yeah, so using the pre-built content that we spoke about, we can connect to various available systems, available integrations, and then we can We can deploy all these security artifacts in the integration flow. Best use of hybrid case, the scenario that you showed, we don't have to get rid of POS yet. So if we have scenarios that are really on-premise, we can still continue to use it, and then use SAP Integration Suite in conjunction with the SAP PO to maintain the hybrid landscape, and then slowly move the applications and then migrate all the interfaces to the cloud.
Excellent. This brings us on to the next chapter, which is scope and partners. And what's the accelerator and what's the risk? Well, we often see that people come in with integration, and yes, they gather the information. Yes, they architect their solution. Yes, they know what they want to build. But when it comes to the stage of building, there is so much dependency on your vendors, and there's so many dependencies on your partners who you are working with in order to develop the integration to be consistent and uniform across different companies. And we found that this is a critical risk for implementation of integration solutions within projects. So what we've done is we've actually developed an application, and we've developed this application specifically as an accelerator that you can use on your project in order to accelerate your integration with your vendors. We call this our integration build accelerator. If you go onto the domain SAP APP, so that's sapapp.com, you'll be able to see it there. And what we do is we have projects, and each vendor has a unique login to their portal, and their portal with their interfaces, which are relevant for them. And each vendor only sees the interfaces relevant for them, and they are able to then look at the different attributes of the integration, as well as have the mapping sheet, which is used. And we find that our developers then have access to all the portals and all the interfaces with all the vendors. And so we've got access to the mapping sheet, which is the mapping sheet which is used with the vendor. And so we don't have to worry about emails and missed emails or missed communications, or waiting for somebody to come back to us with information, or understanding which mapping sheet is the latest one that should be used. We're able to instantly see what the mappings should be and what the technology should be. And we fed all of this into Power BI, where we can map and we can manage the build of the integration across all the partners, and what stage the build is in, and what technology is being used. So we can even maximize the way that we develop things. For example, you don't wish to do all your hardest integrations first with your vendors, which are necessarily not going to assist you. So you might wish to do some medium risk integrations first, and then move on to some easier ones, followed by some hard ones. So there's a way and there's a footprint to manage these things. Prasanna, is there anything else that you wish to add about this tool?
Yes. So using this tool, as you said, we can maintain projects, sub-projects, and interfaces. We can maintain all the properties of the interfaces, and then it's a good way to interact with the vendors, exchange the mapping sheets. It will be like one place where we can have the updated information on the interface, and then based on the user-based access. So it really gives us, accelerates and really helps us speed up the project. Definitely, we can save a lot of time and resources on this. And it's a great add-on to big projects. It makes the life of a lead or a project manager really easy by maintaining these in the tools. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. So that brings us into the build phase. So now that we've got the information, we're working with our scope, we're working with our partners, and we're into the build phase. What is one of the accelerators that you can leverage here? Well, one of the accelerators is the pre-built integration content. Prasanna?
Yeah. So as an example, let's say when we have a landscape, we have S/4HANA system, you want to integrate with another system, right? So easy thing is to go to the API Business Hub, or even from within the cloud integration, go to Discover, find the system that we want to integrate. And then let's say if we select S/4HANA, and then you want to integrate it with Concur, for example, you choose that, and then you see what are the available artifacts, available integration flows. And if that meets your requirement, we just copy it to our portal and then start using it, either if it's a standard, or we can even customize it if we like, or we can even use it as a sub flow within our custom flow, as you can see here. So if we see that all the steps are meeting our requirements, and then we can just use it without any changes. Or we can, if we have kind of a different message, we can also use it within another flow and then call this flow, so that we don't end up changing any of the flow. So likewise, we have so many end-to-end processes for like lead to cash, recruit to retire, etc. Most of the extensive list of standard, usually integrations that are used in various companies for various industries, that's all here. And then we can definitely make use of that, be it SAP to SAP, SAP to non-SAP, on-premise, etc.
Amazing. Amazing to think there's 3,400 different APIs available on the API Business Hub. It's incredible. And 2,600 pre-packaged flows. Amazing. Or anything else?
Yeah, so as I said, some of them are configure only, which means SAP keeps providing the most regular updates, and you're supposed to not change it. But there are ways around where you can use it within another flow and not change this flow, so that we can always get the latest updates. And of course, we can have some of the other packages or artifacts that are editable, so that we are free to edit based on our company's requirement and modify it in our workspace.
Excellent. This brings us into our testing and maintaining portion of our integration build. And so when it comes to testing and maintaining, one of the accelerators that we've got for you in this space is removing the external dependencies during system integration testing. And so what we've seen is that there's a need to test our interfaces, to test at least our interfaces and our technology and integration that we've built, as well as our mapping rules according to our business processes and the logic. And we don't want to have to wait for a vendor to have their build ready for us to test. So in order to get past that, we have partnered with INT4 in Switzerland, and this is the accelerator that we have for you today, is the INT4 suite. Prasanna, do you want to tell us a little bit more about this?
Yeah, in a typical scenario, let's say we have hundreds of interfaces and we are in a system integration test phase, for example, right? And we are integrating with various third-party systems. And often they may not be ready, or they may not have a resource to support us with. So what we can do is we can take a message that has already, let's say, passed successfully in PIPO, for example, and load it and then create our own test case, and then use that as a reference to check. And then we can automatically run various test cases. And then it gives us like a neat report where it even checks the payloads and says, okay, this message was as expected or as per the reference. And we can also hide some of the sensitive information, for example, or if there could be fields that we know are going to change, we can add it to an exception list. So this is definitely useful. This can also be done in production, like post-production, we have an issue, right? We can always take that as a sample. So that way we can reduce time and effort and dependency on the third-party companies. So definitely the service virtualization is one of the key tools that we have, that big companies got to use when they're running large transformation projects. And using these tool, we can simulate all the external systems and remove the dependency, and definitely save a lot of money. And there is even a tool to calculate how much we can save by reducing all these third-party services. So this is definitely useful, and speeds up the whole integration testing phase of the project.
Excellent. Thank you, Prasanna. So this brings us into our last point on the build and the test phase, and that is, how do you remove regression from landscapes that are complex? So if you picture the scenario, you've built your integration, you have a solid integration with multiple vendors, and it is the backbone of your business. And now you've got new changes which are coming through. How do you ensure that you're not damaging your existing flows? So you've got multiple transports. Yes, you do your integration testing. Yes, you run your UAT. Yes, you do everything. However, how do you stop the regression? And that again is something that we have an accelerator for, and that we can propose that you could adopt. And that is again to use the INT4 suite, where we have a test, which is a copy of production, and it's a integration which you've got in production, which is copied into your quality system or your testing system, and it automatically runs with its own generated payload every single day, as many times as you want. And then when you come to work in the morning, all that you do is check your test results. And whenever you have a new transport that comes to your quality system and it's using your new mapping flows or it's using your new business rules, you can see if your existing integrations are going to be broken or not without any work being done. So this robotic process automation enables multiple tests to be run. In fact, it's used by global companies to test every single integration in their company, in their system. And we are talking like top Fortune 500 companies. And so you can leverage the same technology and solution for your company and the project that you are on now. Prasanna, is there anything that you wish to add in this?
Yeah, so let's say if we have the critical processes that are required, that we have to want to make sure that are important for the business, we can run them every day, for example, as you said, or even every hour. We can schedule it as a background job. And as so many change requests keep going to production, we can always make sure that that hasn't impacted this by looking at this report. We can also have it as an email where if there is any error, we'll be able to quickly see and then take action to make sure that it hasn't impacted anything. So yeah.
Excellent, thank you. And we understand that the time that it's taken for everybody to be here and the sacrifice that you've made in order to join us. We're very grateful for your time, and we hope that today you've been given some information that is valuable that you can use and you can leverage on the projects, the S4HANA project that you're on or the SAP program that you are with now. Thank you very much for your time, guys. We hope that you had a wonderful, valuable session, and we appreciate it. All the best.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.